schools. If you look again at our blog, we have Alabama and Auburn breakdown. You can see a little more in depth about what I think about the Alabama-Tennessee game. But they do have a weakness in special teams, but I don't think Mississippi State can exploit that. They're not really known for speed. They have a lot of bruisers back there. But I think Mississippi State can keep this a game just because of the style of offense. They're not going to make a lot of mistakes, but I just think Alabama's too powerful. And on the Dan Mullen, I think that under the right circumstances, he could, Urban Meyer brought up 3 teams to the point where they were constantly competing and he kept leaving. So it really just kind of depends on what he's looking for.
Yeah, with the game in general this weekend, I've mentioned it before, Alabama's balance on offense right now just makes it very difficult to find any type of weakness. And then when you combine that with the defense that they're putting on the field, I mean, really the only weakness you can point to right now is special teams. And when you're that strong in the other 2 phases of the game, it's not going to hurt you that much.
That's right. When you can rush for over 250 yards in 1 week and come back in the next week and throw 4 touchdowns, you've got that balance across the board.
And one of the things I wanted to look for this past weekend when Alabama played Tennessee was this thought that Tyler Bray and Tennessee might be able to expose Alabama's secondary. Didn't happen. I mean, that's kind of the weakness that people have been thinking might exist. And, at this point in the season, even if you got some relatively young guys back there, they've gotten some experience now and they've gotten the coaching. And if that ever was a weakness, I don't think you can look at it as one now.
That's right.
So, I don't know. My prediction in this one, I'm going to say Alabama by 2 touchdowns, 28-14, somewhere in that neighborhood.
I'm thinking Alabama scores 1 more touchdown, 35-17.
Somewhere in there, but I can get on board with Garrett. I'm not sure whether Mississippi State can win out. I think LSU might be a tough game for them, but certainly this game to Alabama is by no means going to put this team out of contention. They have a very good chance of going 10-2.
I'd say they have a better chance of beating LSU with the style they play, losing maybe to A&M.
Yeah.
Just because of the mismatch of styles there. But I've really been impressed with what Mississippi State's put on the field this year.
So we'll see how that goes with that one. We haven't really mentioned Auburn, Texas A&M. That's because I have a feeling it's going to be a bloodbath. Dave, do you see anything different?
No. I just think Auburn's secondary gets torched early and often, and this one gets out of hand quick.
Yeah, we always give a key to the game. My key for this one is just try something different. I don't care what it is. Jonathan Wallace, quarterback, I don't know. I mean, come out on the field with no pants. Just try something different.
Here's a thought. Keep the fullback in the game the entire game.
Yeah.
When he's on the field, he makes plays. I don't understand why he's ever off the field.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe a miracle happens, but we won't count our chickens on that one. We will, on the other hand, be right back after this commercial break to talk about some other SEC games and, of course, run down the Pick 10 standings and let you know about some other big games happening around the country this weekend. We'll be right back on Outputting Our Coverage.
We're back, don't know what we're talking about. 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 We're back, here we go. No more commercials. Here we go. Always talking stuff. We're back, don't know what we're talking about, but we're back. Time for the show. We're back, here we go. No more commercials.
Here on Outputting Our Coverage. A couple other notable SEC games to talk about this week. We'll start with one that's not notable. Kentucky at Missouri. Any chance that Kentucky finally gets Mississippi? They were close last week.
They were, but I don't think they can put that kind of matchup on the field 2 weeks in a row. Missouri gets their quarterback back, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's correct, yes.
So Kentucky and their struggling defense will have even more problems with this Missouri offense. They just don't have the horses.
I agree with that one. Let's go to one that is intriguing. Ole Miss at Arkansas. This game's on the Big Ten, as are the Alabama Mississippi State game and the Auburn Texas A&M game for any Mississippi out there. But Ole Miss, Arkansas might be some interesting.
It depends on which Arkansas team decides to show up. Ole Miss has been pretty consistent on the offensive ball all year, putting up big totals except for the 1 week against Alabama. They're going to score their points. They're going to get their yards. The question is, will this Arkansas offense, which was supposed to be potent, show up. They've come to a couple of games, and they've gotten their yards in a couple of games, but they're just so inconsistent. Who's going to show up?
Yeah, you can make a case and say that Arkansas has rebounded a little bit since the start of the season, but if you look at who rebounds against Auburn and Kentucky, it's more difficult to make that case.
Right.
It's not really, and they haven't played anybody else other than that week off last week as did Ole Miss. So kind of tough to say exactly where this Arkansas team is this week. I think we may see them slide back a little bit, but Ole Miss has been decently impressive to me. So for the first time in a while, I feel like they actually won the game.
They definitely do.
Something that a team like Auburn is certainly lacking, and they're actually playing some defense. So
I've just really been impressed with week after week they keep finding ways to open up holes for their quarterback. It's hard to do after you've got a control of your offense, but they keep doing it. I mean, this is week, 8? And they're still racking up 50 yards a game in rushing.
I think they'll be able to have quite a bit of success with the rushing game against Arkansas, so I have no reservations taking Ole Miss, maybe even by
I'm going to take Ole Miss, but I'm going to say it's going to be closer to about 10 points. Spread 6.5. I think both of us think they'll do it.
Yeah, so should be a decent one to watch there. Moving on to some better games, Tennessee at South Carolina. South Carolina coming off a pretty disappointing loss to Florida last week. And another disappointing loss before that to LSU. At one point in the season, I thought South Carolina might be the national title contender. One of those statements that we can take back.
I picked them to win the East. So.
I still really like South Carolina.
I think so. I think the only chance for Tennessee is that South Carolina is going to be losing after the last weeks that they've had. I think they get their heads screwed on. They're playing at home. South Carolina historically always plays much better at home. I think Tennessee's walking into their trap.
Yeah, the only thing that concerns me is what if Steve Spurrier tries to outsmart some of these quarterback controversy now, played some Dylan Thompson last week against Florida. The rest of the season, Connor Shaw has been spectacular.
He has.
Spurrier, he's got that epic short leash.
He does, but a lot of times he does this just to try to motivate.
Yeah.
It depends on what kind of kid Connor Shaw is. He might come out and be motivated by what Spurrier is.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that concerns me here. Otherwise, South Carolina can't probably crush them.
Yeah, I think they cover with a 14.5-point spread. They'll probably get them by.
All right, and the world's largest cocktail party taking place down in Jacksonville this weekend. Florida and Georgia. Two teams very much going in opposite directions right now.
I do. I think this is the biggest game of each of these teams here so far. Georgia always beats Florida. They come in fired up. I remember one year that when Georgia scored the first touchdown, Mark Britt had the entire team always high motion. They're going to be running around the field. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. But I think Georgia and Florida. I picked against them twice back to back week. I've got Florida less impressive than I thought they were. I've got to stick with the Gators, but I really think Georgia makes this a game.
Yeah, see, I'm going to disagree with you there. Everything I've seen out of Georgia this year has been a struggle, and I've seen some comments online this week by Georgia players saying the same sort of things I'm hearing out of Auburn players these days, that the right guys aren't playing on the field, that nobody's stepping up as a leader, and when I start hearing those things, that's when I start to get really worried about a team. So, and when you look at last week against Kentucky, Aaron Murray getting 430 yards, 4 touchdowns, still failing to really put that game away. They couldn't get their rushing game going against Kentucky last week. That has some severe anxiety.
It does, and you cannot throw that many times against this Florida secondary. They will kick you to pieces.
Yeah, and going along with that leadership mental type struggle, Georgia had 70 yards last week, and mistakes like that.
Although you've got to they played Kentucky right now. You can make an argument that they had an off week.
That's true, but one of the biggest enigmas of the thought at some point Come back, talk about the Big Ten. You know how the standings are going for that. Spoiler alert, it's still at the bottom. But, some other interesting stuff. Hopefully we'll get around to the other side here.
I hopped off the plane at LAX with a dream, my cardigan. Welcome to the land of fame excess. Am I gonna fit in? Jumped in the cab, here I am for the first time. Look to my right and I see the Hollywood sign. This is all so crazy. Everybody seems so famous. My tummy's turning and I'm feeling kinda homesick. Too much pressure and I'm nervous. That's when the taxi man turned on the radio and a Jay-Z song was on. And the Jay-Z song was on. And the Jay-Z song was on. So I put my hands up to play my song. The butterflies fly away. Nodding in my head like yeah. Moving my hips like yeah. Put my hands up to play my song.
Down lately with Auburn being as bad as they are. A little bit of mine.
You gotta have a pick me up there.
I'm feeling a lot better.
It's good. I'm glad you're feeling good.
One thing I'm not feeling so good about my status in the Big Ten, but others of you feel very good about where you are.
We actually just looked at it in the break. You are not last. You are 2 away from last place. You actually have a 4-game record between you and last.
So I'm trying to keep up with this.
John's last. But this week we had another perfect.
There's a conspiracy or something.
I don't know. Vaughn, who just joined us, picked 10-0. Really impressive. Sports Illiterate, who just joined us a couple weeks ago, 8-2. So had back-to-back 7 or 8 wins. Max 2011 with 8-2 is really going to get hard to catch up with. He's got a 16 lead.
Not a whole lot of weeks left.
He might be running away with it. Bama fan rebounded with a big week. But the big story is Garrett Burke right there at number 2. So right now we've got Max 2011 at the top spot. Garrett Burke and Bama fan tied for second, 6 games back. Then we kind of spread out from there. I've dropped back to 9th, tied for 12th thing. A lot of movement. It's not calls, it's inner turmoil. Right now, my innards are just fighting against each other because I like Cincinnati. I like what they've done all year. I've been really impressed with their football team. On the other hand, I am not in the least impressed with the way Louisville is getting winning games. I'm impressed that they do find a way to win week after week. I am not impressed in the fashion in which they're winning them. But I picked Louisville to be my dark horse top 10. Considering they're the only preseason pick that I made that is still hanging around, I got to go with Louisville in a really tight game. I don't even think they can cover the 4.5 spread.
Yeah, I think this is it's probably going to evolve into somewhat of a shootout. Louisville's defense has not been superb, even serviceable, I guess you could say. But Cincinnati has beaten some decent teams. Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, definitely not what I would call marquee wins, but they beat those teams in pretty convincing fashion. So the real reason I